Chris, let's talk about this plagiarism issue. Meek and I disagree. I think this is much ado about nothing. I have seen politicians in cloakrooms for years and on the campaign trail saying, hey, buddy, use this line. It works.
Right.
And then you look at this campaign. Hillary's borrowing from Barack Obama's lines. Obama's borrowing. Yeah. I mean, come on. This is much ado about nothing.
Well, first of all, I want, is anybody willing to swear to God that they wrote their books in the business of politics that you know, Joe? I wrote this book. I sat at a word processor and I wrote this book myself. How many politicians can admit to that? I think U.S. Grant wrote his. General Grant, when he was in his retirement and almost dying of cancer, he wrote his book, his great memoirs. I believe that Barack Obama wrote his first book.
Right.
The second one seems much more collaborative, but he wrote the first one for sure. I doubt that other politicians, I include them all on this list, not just Hillary, don't actually write their own books. Jack Kennedy certainly didn't write Profiles in Courage. They don't write their books. They have people like Ted Sorensen and people that write their books for them. They do sign them. They do go to the book sales. They do go on the book tour.
This is much ado
so the
about
idea
nothing.
of plagiarism, I only say about him this, in all fairness. Now, I talked to somebody in his campaign that really knows what they're talking about and said what he did do was he has a lot of quotes in his head all the time.
Yeah.
He went into that riff. He remembered it, obviously, from Deval Patrick. He went into that riff. He has a pretty good memory, and he basically recited it. That's something that disturbs people like me because I thought he was a little more original than that. But to me, it's like, what struck me is almost like finding out that Steve Martin is using Henny Youngman material. It's kind of like, have you run out of your own stuff? Are you running out of stuff? Is that what's going on here? But you know what? I think this is probably more of a problem with the college crowd who are already for him. I think regular people who have other things on their mind will say, what are they arguing about? Don't these guys all have speechwriters?
Yeah.
Don't they pay these guys out of federal money? I was a paid U.S. government employee writing speeches for a president. Nobody said, hey, that's Chris Matthews' speech, Mr. President. You can't give it. That was what I did for a living, was write speeches for somebody else to deliver.
Chris, I don't disagree with you or Joe on this. I'm just wondering, though, if this will have an impact. And is this good stuff for the Clinton campaign to go after because the tape is there and because Deval Patrick said it 2 years ago and because Barack Obama executed it almost word for word?
Right,
is it a little bit embarrassing?
It is.